Sori.
That's Booby.
And Colby and Chip.
Apothecary. You got it as Apothesary. Who put that in there? Is that you or was that Peter?
No, I just go, I click on the link and then I highlight what's there.
Oh.
But
I'm pretty sure it's Apothecary and not Apothesary. We'll see in a second. The name of this song is Sensory Overload.
Yep. This
is from the big homie
X.
X from Gersock. What happened? What's he saying about it?
This is a band he's been wanting to show us for quite some time. They're great friends of the band, and they have been in the local scene for longer than Gersock has. So they're leagues ahead of us, he said. They also happen to be one of my favorite local bands from our scene, so I really look forward to hearing what you guys think about this one. And here, I don't think you're going to get the lyrics, right. So I have them here, so.
Sure.
Okay.
He always does that, though. He's like, oh, this band is better than us.
I know.
And he's always trying to support local bands.
I know.
Nobody is better in California than Gersock, period. Vin has spoken. Vini la cuda est, la casa finita est. You know what that means?
No, I'm assuming. What is it?
It's a famous Latin phrase. It's actually Roma la cuda est, la casa finita est. Rome has spoken, the matter is finished. So, Vinny has spoken, the matter is finished. The matter's finished. Gersock is the greatest. Gersock is the greatest band of all time over there in California right now. So, Apothecary, we will listen to you. We will like you. But you're not going to be better than Gersock.
If you want to see behind the scenes with political stuff, check out his channel.
Behind the scenes of political stuff.
Yeah, no behind the scenes. It's just
timely, topical, political commentary. You can hit us up at Middle America with Vin and Sori. Tell the people the truth.
And if you want to see behind the scenes with our family, see, that's where behind the scenes is supposed to be, then check out My Sori Life.
I was watching one of those videos. I looked miserable as hell.
You were. I was so sad that day because you were miserable. I was like, wow.
Hey. Sensory overload Apothecary. Go!
Go.
Let's go back to the door. Reload the blood. Stopping the beating of love on the sea. I'm acting like crippled. I want me alone. No one understands. It's all that I am. Something isn't right. It isn't breathing. Someone do something. Maintaining found on the hallway. Exactly what it was made of.
Wow.
So I was trying to Google the lyrics for this song.
Yeah.
The unbearable sensation of being, living with sensory processing disorder.
That's what sensory overload is.
Some kids find everyday stimuli excruciating. Scientists are finally figuring out why. Sydney was cradling her 9-month-old son Elias against her chest when she and a room full of family members simultaneously yelled, "Surprise!" when unsuspecting off on her birthday. The outburst shot like a bolt of electricity through Elias. He cried for an hour. Xander, while growing up at the perpetual sensory assault of Manhattan, had to get off the train anytime someone with a guitar entered a subway car to play for small change. Cal had a more enigmatic reaction to stimuli. His mother, Jennifer, points to the floor-to-ceiling windows in her hilltop living room. Rooftop forests in the San Francisco Bay spool out for miles. Cal was 2 when they moved here from the small contained apartment. We got here and Cal was always running away from me, recalls Jennifer. He suddenly had all this space and stimulation. He was in sensory overload. As soon as these kids can move for themselves, they will run screaming from the room when these stimuli reach their world. Jeez. He would rather be kicked in his Aikido martial arts class than receive a friendly hug. It physically hurts when people hug me, he says. This makes his mom, Judy, who's a hugger, think twice before reflexively going in for a hug.
Wow.
Elias, at age 2, would hold his breath and sit at the bottom of the pool. The silence and the water pressure, his only solace.
Lots of people do that, right? No? Did you ever do that when you were a kid?
Well, yeah, but not just for the experience and the, novelty of it, not as a comfort measure. Nobody sits at the bottom of the pool as a comfort measure. That was his only solace as a kid.
Oh, only solace, yeah.
God almighty. Living in a state of perpetual fight, flight, or freeze in reaction to stimuli or in constant fear of those reactions' onset takes a toll on SPD children and their parents alike. The disorder can be profoundly disruptive on every level. Good Lord. Alright,
yeah.
Well, the video was a... why did you keep looking at me?
I want to know you're all...
I've had a couple close people to me exit the world in some of those graphic circumstances.
Yeah.
But, it happens. So, it's reality. And that's the job of the artist. That's their job. You got to present the world in all of its gory glory.
Jeez.
So, it didn't seem to me that it was a celebration of it. You know what I'm saying? But, obviously, I would have, preferred for them not to constantly play it on a loop.
Yeah.
Go somewhere else with the video, we get it. But at the same time, it's that's what happens. And I don't really get to really check on the lyrics of the song.
Yeah.
But...
So...
And really, when that happens and you deal with the fallout of that stuff, you're never not seeing it. I don't know how it affects other people. Maybe we'll put a warning before the video or whatever. Mm-hmm. A legitimate trigger warning. I don't know how it affects other people, but to me, I see it every day, so. Mm-hmm. You never get that stuff out of your head.
Jeez.
So, it's not really, traumatic in the sense of, oh my God. But it's more like, you remember you lost somebody, but you think about them every day anyway, so. It's not something that you're going to escape. Mm-hmm. So. But that's just me. The name of this record is Accept Loss Forever.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I was like, whoa. I was like, whoa, this guy is pretty troubled fella.
Yeah.
Okay.
Back to the tunnel that relit the flame.
Well, it starts with Let's Go.
Yeah, I just thought that meant let's start.
Oh, it's Apothesary. It's not Apothecary. I was certain it was Apothecary, but it's Apothesary.
Is there a difference?
Well, the Apothecary was the guy in... first time I was introduced to that word, it was the guy in Romeo and Juliet who gave Romeo the poison.
Oh.
Remember, he went to the apothecary and he mixed up the poison.
Yep.
So it's an old way of saying like the pharmacist or whatever, but it's really Apothesary. That's the name of the band. Okay. Okay, so let's go back to the tunnel that relit the flame and taught me the meaning of love, loss, and shame. I've been financially crippled by the one thing I love, but no one quite understands this is all that I have. That music, that's pretty interesting. Like, you never really hear people like in metal like explicitly talk about money.
Yeah.
Like, you very rarely.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Rap, that's all you talk about. But here he's saying, I've been financially crippled by the one thing I love, but no one understands it's all I have. Something isn't right, he isn't breathing. Someone call for help, someone do something. They say he found out the hard way exactly what he was made of, and at the time of my writing, he is still with us. So they probably ran into a friend who tried to do something to himself. That's a pretty hard thing. You know, I always wonder, like, you know, me and my mom's last conversation or whatever, and I talked about, like, you know, hey, Mom, you know, you weren't perfect, but neither was I. You know, I got stuff to apologize for, too. But I never apologized for her having to find me. You know what I'm saying? You know, how I ended up in the hospital or whatever. And, of course, you know, she never demanded an apology, but now having kids of my own, if I had to find one of my kids the way that my mom had to find me that time, like that would have killed me. You know what I mean? So you don't think about that stuff when you're in that kind of space, you know. But now it's like that would have really that would have really wrecked me. But you know, I didn't think to say, and it's not like, oh my God, I should have said that to my mom. It's just one of those things where it's like, there's so many nuances about life that you don't figure out until you become a parent yourself.
It's so true. Yeah.
You know, and then on top of that,
you're in the situation yourself.
Yeah, and then on top of that, you know, when you become a parent of a growing child, you know what I'm saying? Because the baby's not gonna, like, you know, I'm gonna end it all. You know what I mean? Like, but then when you get kids who are teenagers and the life starts happening to them, and you know, then it's like, then you start thinking like, man, is this hereditary? And da 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 da, and all those things, and you're.
Oh yeah,
you know.
I bet.
So.
Yep.
It's been a hell of a year. I've seen the dissolution of a marriage, the progression of a cancer, and the death of a first love. 6 years deep, but I'm still standing. Whew, that's crazy.
So, this was the year that he was experiencing. He saw this in other people.
Somebody got divorced. Cancer progressed. Death of his first love, who I'm assuming was... They were together for 6 years. But I'm still standing. Whew. Life hurts, but it could be worse, so just be thankful that you're not like them. It gets worse, but you're better off. The paranoia has me by the neck.
Why are you better off?
Well, I'm not particularly certain that he's saying that in a positive sense.
Oh.
I think he's saying these are the platitudes that people tell you.
Oh.
You know, life is tough, and you know what they always say, like, there's always somebody in a worse situation than you.
Yep, you're right. No, I bet you're right.
Those are like the crazy platitudes. And you know that, like, that alien cartoon that we just saw with the, like, you know, we deceived you, and it really means surprise.
Yeah.
So there's these, like, brilliant cartoons on Instagram, and the guy's a genius. I love it. But he takes the phrases that we just use over and over again and don't realize what we're really saying. So it's like, surprise, you know, like, and it's really, most of the time in surprise parties, like, there's a bunch of lies that have to be fomented so that...
So you can keep the surprise.
So you guy walks into the door and everybody says surprise, but in reality, surprise simply means we deceived you. You know, so it's like, you know, when you hear people say, you know, I'm just grateful because, you know, there's always somebody in a worse situation. Now, I do think, like, the intention, a lot of it has to do with your intention. Like, if you really are saying, I shouldn't complain, or I should be grateful because I've been blessed with things that other people haven't been blessed with, I do think there's a virtuous version of that. But I also think a lot of the times, really, what you're saying is, just be thankful you're not like them. Just be happy that you don't have cancer like those poor saps over there. You know what I mean? Like, that's really what you're saying when you say, oh, it could be worse. What are you thinking?
No, I don't agree with you. I never thought that.
Well, like I said, there's a good version of that.
Oh,
but what
yeah.
I'm saying is there's also a very cynical version of that, which is, well, like for example, we were talking, you know, in I don't know, as death counseling or whatever. But a lot of times what happens is when people are dying of terrible diseases or whatever, their friends will actually abandon them because their friends don't want to see what's happening to them. Because it then reminds them of their own mortality. So it's like, oh, and it's a very, very common thing. Friends will abandon their friends in those really bad situations. Family members will do it. People are dying of cancer or whatever, and a lot of times family members will just straight up abandon them because they don't want to be faced. They don't want to be faced with the fact of their own mortality. So it's like, I don't want to be like that guy.
What?
Oh yeah. So they'll say thoughts and prayers and all this stuff, but then they'll abandon people in those situations. They don't want to be. They don't want to be face to face with it. I mean, look at that story last night. It's like the guy's wife died randomly, and then he had a heart attack, and then they're like, "See ya." And those are church people. See what I'm saying? So a lot of the times it's like people will abandon people in really bad situations because it's like they don't want to have to look that in the face because it might happen to them. So they want to keep their cushy life, and not be reminded that, hey, eventually you're going to face some tragedy yourself. Oh yeah. Yeah, so there's a lot of times like, and the other thing it's really common with is the loss of a child. People go, oh, I'm so sorry for you. But a lot of people report the guilt of saying, I'm so happy that it was your kid and not mine.
Yep.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's all part of like human nature and all that jazz.
Yeah. Okay, that one I can see.
You know what I mean? So, so it's like just be thankful that you're not like them. It gets worse, but you're better off. The paranoia has me by the neck, and I think the paranoia there might be what's going to happen to me.
Yep.
Because it's like if you live in a neighborhood where dudes are getting shot all the time, you eventually you come to the realization it's just going to it's going to be a matter of time.
Inevitable.
Like the first time I saw somebody randomly have some really violent stuff happen to them, it happened about 10 feet in front of me, and it was completely random. Like this guy he was in a gangbang, he was just a white dude on the way to Manhattan to do his Wall Street job. And for whatever reason, he had to do, 149th Grand Concourse. I mean, it's called Grand Concourse for a reason. I mean, you're going everywhere from there. And so he jumps on the train, and then it just randomly happened to him. He had nothing. He did nothing to deserve it. He did nothing to put himself. A lot of people will tell you like, don't put yourself in that space. He didn't. It just randomly happened to him because it just so happened. Actually, what happened was the guy that it was supposed to happen to was very street smart, so it didn't happen to him. And so because it didn't happen to that guy, they basically said the next time, the next person that comes on is getting it. And so the next person that came on got it. So that was the first time when the paranoia really hit me, because I was like, wait a second.
There's no...
Like, this guy is supposed to be insulated.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, he's supposed to be, but there was no rhyme or reason to it. So that's when the paranoia really starts to get you. Like, it's going to happen to you. You come to the knowledge that it's going to happen to you.
Well, yeah, I think that, like, as a kid and as a teen sometimes, depending on where you grow up or whatever, like, you have this idea that you're invincible because nothing has happened to you yet.
Yeah.
But I'm sure that when you're sitting in a situation like that and all of a sudden you just see that happen right in front of your face, and then the reality that, well, wait, something could actually happen. Like, facing that reality has got to be something crazy.
Well, it's not...
And you don't have the choice. It's not like you're like, well, I could use my car.
It's not like something can happen to me. It's not like that.
When is it going to happen?
It's going to happen. It's just a matter of time.
Jeez.
That's why I say, like, everybody carrying weapons and stuff like that in the hood, like, those are not tough people. None of us were tough people. Everybody was just paranoid and scared to death. And everybody was just like, I'm not going to sit there and let it happen to me when it happens.
Yeah.
Like, somebody's going to pay.
Yep. Yeah.
Which just creates more, but we weren't trying to hear that. Because when you're stuck in a paranoid situation, you can't get out. Forget it. So yeah, it'll mess with you. Definitely does. And then he brought in this next stanza the pursuit of an addiction.
Yeah, just more things.
Yeah, you have to start over. You have to start over. Mm-hmm. So what he's saying is like, you know, he's got to go on with his life, and he's got to keep starting over in spite of all these losses and issues. But the one thing that he has to hold on to start over with is music, and it's killing him financially. Pouring thousands into dreams that nobody knows.
Oh.
See, because he started the thing saying, you know, he's talking about his finances at the beginning. See what I'm saying?
Yep.
And then he comes out and says, I spent thousands of dollars into this dream because it's all I have. Everybody and everything around me is falling apart. My music is what I have. I got to go for broke with it. Mm-hmm. You know, like, that's real, man. Mm-hmm. That's real. So this is my story if you're willing to listen. That's what? That line, if you're willing to listen, is a very simple line, but it's
important in so many different aspects.
It's a gut-wrenching line because a lot of suffering in the world just wouldn't happen if people would just listen to each other. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You know, Dorian was all sideways yesterday, and I just took him out for his walk, and we just sat down and talked for about an hour, and that's it. Mm-hmm. And he was good, you know. That's all, you know, people need. Of course, I'm his dad, you know, whatever, but there's a lot of dads that won't listen to their kids.
No, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of dads who won't just, you know, like the kids acting up, acting crazy, they'll just, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
You know?
Punishment.
Like, you did something wrong.
Stop this behavior.
How could you be so disrespectful? You know, it's disrespectful. You know, like, people don't listen to other people. Like, that's like the problem. It's like, for cancer, for example, it's like, you know, there's a lot of things and medical things that just have to happen and somebody dies of cancer, it's like, it's terrible. But a lot of times, people are dying just because other people will not listen to them. Yeah. And that's hard. It's hard for me to accept that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's hard to be like, yo, you know, it's like that kid where, you know, he jumped off the Golden Gate Bridge and he said, you know, when they were looking at his note, he said, if somebody smiles at me, I won't do it.
Smile.
And it's like, and I think to myself, like, could God trust me to put me on that bridge? Mm-hmm. No, because I'd have been in my phone. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like, we do not listen to each other. It's crazy. And it's something that, and like, you know, listening to you'll read me those messages on Patreon, and it's like, well, you know.
Some of those messages are just incredible.
Well, yeah, it's incredible, and you know, all people really need to go on sometimes is just somebody who will, like, genuinely listen to them. Mm-hmm. You know, I don't have any solutions for anybody. Mm-hmm. I rarely do, but, you know, you can take 2 minutes out of your day to listen to somebody. So, this is my story if you're willing to listen, and it's crazy to me. Like, he had to put thousands into his art form so that his voice in the story, and it's not only his story.
No, because there's lots of other people in there, and he's
also speaking for those people.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? So he has to. We live in a world where somebody has to invest thousands of dollars so that these stories get told. You know what I'm saying? Because we're so self-absorbed. Yeah. That we can't do it. You know what I'm saying? It's a crazy thing. So if you can, you know, like. This is my story. If you're willing to listen, maybe it sounds a lot like yours. Maybe something resonates. Don't take this for advice. Just know you're not alone in this. All the pain will end. Mm-hmm. You know, and so it was. I would have liked to have seen, because the song ended on a positive note. I would have liked to seen something redemptive in the video. Yeah. You know, if the song was just completely about death and destruction, fine. But the song ends on a positive, sort of hopeful note.
All pain will end.
So, you know, it's kind of like a weird twist to the message. Like, sure, if you kill yourself, your pain will end. But the line says all pain will end. Yeah. So there's got to be a different way to end pain without destroying everybody around you while you're ending your pain. Mm-hmm. You know, and you know, yeah. So
I think that
if you do that, if you kill yourself, like, I get it. I have no judgments for you. You just have to realize that you're just gonna wreck everybody around you.
for sure.
And nobody around you will ever be the same ever again.
No.
So I encourage you not to do that.
Yeah.
And even if you think, well, nobody around me will care,
Or they'll be better off.
99.999% of that is just a justification
Yep.
to do it.
Yeah.
Because you know that's not true.
Well, I don't know that sometimes people don't know that that's not true. I
true.
think that you kind of buy into the lie sometimes.
True.
Like when you get in a really, really dark space, you just have to know that if that's the thought that you're having, it's a lie. Like it's not true.
Yeah, I had a family member who, when we looked into her emails afterward, she had set everything up, and she had really, really convinced herself that, oh, they don't take care of this person, so I can, whatever. Mm. And the irony of the whole thing is that action that she took,
right,
set everything in motion to where I was not able to take care of that person.
Isn't that crazy?
So, but I'm not like I get it. She was in a certain, space of loneliness and a lot, and nobody in her family would listen to her, and that was the irony. She was surrounded by her blood family.
Yeah.
And she did that to get away from them. You know what I'm saying? Mind-boggling to me. All right, what do you give the song?
I'm gonna give this one a 8.7.
Yeah, it's an 8.7 for me too.
Oh.
Right there, on the dot. Yeah, good song. Good band. I'd like to see these guys tour with Gershok.
We have another song by them too.
No shit.
Yeah, it's coming up next month.
From Gershok?
Gershok is doing it again, yeah. I think so.
They
yeah.
better give this man a Martin Luther King
Oh,
award.
I know.
Vin out.
Sori out.
Gone.